Welcome back. In this step, we look at named query annotations. So if you look at this specific thing, we are actually hard coding the query in. So this means if I have to reuse the query somewhere else, they would need to hard code it again. I would need to type in the entire query again. Named queries will help you to prevent that. So with named queries, you can assign name to a query and use it. So how do I create a named query? It's very simple. I can go to course. For example, this is the entity here, right? So here I can add a named query. So named query java x.persistence, and over here I can specify the name for a query, that's get all courses. I would like to prepend it with query get all courses, and comma, you can specify the query itself. So what's the query? The query which we want to use is this. Select C from course C. Now, this becomes a named query, and this can be used in other things. Now I can use here, instead of create query, I can say create named query. So create named query using what? Using this. So get all courses. Even here I can say create named query and use query get all courses. So let's see what would happen now. Run as JUnit test. I'm running all the 3 tests. Okay, cool. So this runs. So you'd see that the queries are properly run and you are getting the right details out. So this is select star from course. That's perfect. It's getting all the details and it's printing all the details out here. That's cool. So that's a named query. However, you'd see that here we have another query, right? I would want to create a named query for this as well. How can I do that? And let's say I come here and say at named query, name is equal to query get 100 step courses. Let's call it that way. And I would try and put the query is equal to the query which I copied. Aha. You can see that there is an error coming up. It's saying duplicate annotation of a non-repeatable type at named query. So this is not really a repeatable annotation. So because of that, what happens is I cannot do something of this kind. What I would need to do is when I want to define multiple named queries, I would need to use another annotation. It is called named queries. So Java X persistence named queries, and over here I can say value is equal to, over here I have to define an array of named queries. So named query comma another named query, and this is how you would do a set of named queries. So this is how you define multiple named queries. This is not really a very easy way of doing it. So now I have defined this, so I would want to use the named query here as well. So let's do that. Create named query, and that's cool. And let's run the unit test, JPQL test. Okay, there you go. So it's a green bar. If you look at the queries, you'd see that the queries are perfectly fired as well. So that's cool, isn't it? So in this step, what we looked at are the named query and the named queries annotation. Named query is used when you want to just define one query, but when you want to define multiple queries, then you need to use a combination of named query and named queries. Until the next step, bye-bye.